In Matthew chapter 6 verse 25 it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?" Christ gives this command to his disciples in Matthew chapter 6 verse 25, telling them not to worry about their needs, such as what they will consume or wear. Christ had previously instructed the disciples not to store up treasures on earth in the passage that was found in Matthew chapter 6 verse 19 to 24. Believers should not hoard their wealth like the rest of the world, but they also should not let worry about their needs consume them, because God will provide for them in accordance with their needs. Jesus is inviting us to a life where you are not marked by dwelling on fearful and anxious thoughts. He asked on a questions that I think is so profound. Isn't life more than food, and body more than clothing? When we only care about getting by on food, clothing, etc., we reduce ourselves to the level of animals. Serving our physical body becomes the only purpose of life. Later, Christ claims that these are the concerns of the pagans. Their main concerns are temporal, not eternal issues, and they are always in a hurry to get what they want. However, we are also citizens of heaven in addition to this planet. As a result, even though we live here on earth, we must be primarily concerned with the affairs of heaven. The first idea that I want to highlight from the text is to track down your anxiety. Jesus just posed a question on whether life is just about food and clothing. Is it the epitome of all life is equal to? Why do you think Jesus would ask this question to all of us? When we think about it, well, he's God, so we can assume he's not actually asking because he doesn't know the answer. In asking that question, his audience would have been forced to go, yes, life is more than food. In other words, if we know we had enough food to make it for the rest of our life, would that be the epitome of life? Truth is, no, absolutely not. Food is important, but life is not equal to just having food on our table or clothes to wear. Even so, life is more than just having a job, more than being married, or even more than having the wealth in the world. Whatever you would be worried about, Jesus would say, isn't life more than that? When God does and asks this, he is trying to put us into a bigger perspective, and he does what counselors still do today, asking questions to help them more clearly see what they're anxious about if life is about way more than just having enough material and physical needs. Why would you give so much of your life to being anxious about something that isn't the entirety of your existence? Anxiety frequently manifests itself as the question, what if? It is fueled by what if. What if I never get a promotion? What if my mother's cancer treatment fails? What if I'm single for the rest of my life? What if I fail these exams? What if? And we leave it there. We sometimes do not take the time to answer these questions. Now, I want to encourage you that instead of asking and leaving it unanswered, we should try and explore what are the possible answers of the what ifs in our lives. It can be related to our relationships, career, or even personal circumstances. Answer whatever it is you're anxious about. What if this relationship never works out? Then you would either marry someone or not get married at all. What if I don't get married? Then you can be single forever. There are a lot of these things that we keep asking ourselves, and it is important that we try to answer and acknowledge what might be the possibilities. Anxiety feeds on ignorance and the unwillingness to face those fears. When we are courageous in facing our fears and confronting our worries, we are able to deflate its power. It's silly or maybe even easy to understand why so few people actually track down and chase down their anxiety. And as a result, they hang in this fog of fear rather than isolating and identifying the source of their anxiety. Identify what it is that you are actually afraid of, and facing it is the first step toward changing it. Jesus tells his disciples in Matthew chapter 6, "Don't worry about life, what you're going to eat or drink, or about your body and what you're going to wear. The Heavenly Father feeds the birds of the air despite the fact that they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns. Are you not worth more than they are?" Even Solomon, in all his glory, was not just like one of these lilies in the field, because they do not labor or spin to grow. Even the birds in the sky are provided with what they need to survive, even if they neither sow nor reap. You, my friend, are more valuable than any beings here on earth. If God can provide for creatures who does not think the way we do, then he can provide for us who are his most valuable creation. All of these things are sought after by Gentiles, people who do not know God, and your heavenly Father knows you need them. Remember, God has promised to provide, Jesus said. Jesus illustrates one aspect of God's provision in these verses. Even the inanimate objects in his creation receive his care. He gives them food and clothing. He sees them as prized works of creation. Why then should we be concerned with his provision? Are we not God's special creations and image bearers? As a good father should, he always provides precisely what is best for his children at the appropriate time. But God has promised he will never leave us nor forsake us. He will get us through it. He is near to the brokenhearted, and God has promised he will provide for you. He is enough, and he is a sustainer. Not to provide it all for all of your wants, but promise to provide for all of your needs. And Jesus brings them back by saying, "You're acting like people who don't have a heavenly Father. You have a heavenly Father." When we are going through a difficult time and need some encouragement, whether it be emotionally, financially, or physically, we can take comfort in the fact that God has promised to provide for his people. The Bible is full of promises that we can cling to regardless of what our requirements or circumstances may be at any given time. God is the origin of everything that we have and everything that we require, because he is the one who brought us into this world and gave us life. Therefore, have confidence that God will provide what is best for you, and put your trust in the provision that he will make. You ought to put your faith in the Lord and show gratitude to him for everything that you possess. Whenever you find yourself questioning whether or not God is providing for you, turn to the Bible to strengthen your faith and calm your anxiety.